Welcome to Care to Share. Thank you for tuning in tonight. We're here live at Tinseltown Studios in the beautiful city of Douglasville, Georgia. We just want to thank you for taking your time and watching the show. Tonight we're going to be discussing some very critical issues in reference to voting registration, and also going to talk about some issues that have happened in Douglasville previously, about the ethics complaint that went on, and we have some very distinguished guests with us tonight. I want to introduce to you Mr. John Sanders, Miss Barbara Smith, and Mr. Jerome Fitz. I'm sure y'all seen him before. And Barbara is the chairperson. She told me she was chairwoman, but she's the chairperson for voter registration for the Democratic Party. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And John, of course, he's a film producer, and that's what he is. One of my things I want to talk about to my panel is a very important issue. Before we move into voter registration, because we spend some time on that, but the ethics complaint that happened about 2 weeks ago, I presume, right? And we got who we wanted in the office. We voted for who we wanted to come into the office, Mr. Mike Miller. Just your thoughts. I'm going to ask Jerome first, because he came behind me after I made my little speech. Ask Jerome, how has that affected the community here in Douglasville so far?
Well, first and foremost, the people's voice was heard, because I looked at the agenda for tonight, because we have a city council meeting tonight, and it's actually on the agenda to talk about appointing people to the ethics board. Mm-hmm. So the good thing about that is the people's voice was heard. That's first and foremost. But more importantly, people's voices were heard because it spoke at the polls.
Okay.
That was the big thing. But the one thing that has been spoken about with Mike's election was, it was Mike against an agenda.
Okay.
But the thing was, everybody helped Mike get elected. Mm-hmm. It wasn't just the Republican Party. It wasn't just basically his base.
Right.
It was everybody. He had a diverse group of people to help him get elected. That's what we're looking for in Douglasville from now on. It's not just about people that look alike. Mm-hmm. That's not what it's about. It's about everybody coming together and voting for the best candidate. My main mission from now until whenever is, let's get out of party and think about people.
Right. Because
you have to know the person behind that party. What if the person you normally would vote for in the party per se is against everything you stand for? That's not what you want. You want to make sure that the person that you're voting for has the ideals that you stand for, right, and for the majority of the people. That's the biggest thing. We don't just want a one-sided thing anymore. Exactly. John, you were there.
Yes, it was.
What are your thoughts on what happened, after what was said? I know they're going to supposedly make a change, I guess, to the charter. The charter. Yeah. Is that good enough do you think it's good enough right now?
Well, I'm not going to say it's good enough for right now, because, from right now to whenever they get a chance to get to it, things can still change. It could go another way. Mm-hmm. Could go another way. But like Mr. Jerome said, the community's voice was heard. Right. And we have to stop voting on, my thing about this, we have to stop voting on just color. Because we keep on voting on color. Right. That doesn't really do anything. Like, for instance, I'm just gonna get off the subject. For instance, like Detroit, mm-hmm, they've been having a black mayor for the last 40 years. Mm-hmm. People got tired of that. Because when you vote just one color in there all the time, that does not mean necessarily it's for you. Exactly. Detroit got the first white mayor in 40 years. Mm-hmm. Because I think people just got tired. I'm not saying because it's a black person. Mm-hmm. People just vote for color right now, and you can't do that. And we keep on voting on color. Right. People get too relaxed. Yeah. People get in office don't want to do nothing.
Mm-hmm. You know what I found out? Most times we vote for color and don't understand the agenda.
Exactly.
We vote. I'm being real. A lot of people voted for President Obama because he was black. Right. And I know that was part of my reasons too. But I had to understand his agenda also. Exactly. Which is what I did. I understood him personally. And a lot of people do that. And what we're trying to do here in Douglasville is get people to change their minds, I guess, and their concept about why they vote. What are your thoughts on it?
Let me say this to the audience. Today is my birthday.
Oh, stop. Okay, happy birthday to you on that live stream. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Sister Barbara. Happy birthday to you. Now the whole world knows it's your birthday. Hopefully.
What I was about to say,
Okay.
yesterday was Jerome's birthday.
Okay.
So
Nah, you
we,
don't say for me. I'm good.
so we have things in common.
Okay.
What I saw was people getting together.
Mm-hmm.
You had the Democrat Party, the Republican Party, and the Tea Party. We developed a relationship. We bonded together in Douglas County, and we made a change. And I think the mayor, especially of Douglasville, he saw that. And the other leader, they saw that. So now they have to recognize that we do have power when we vote. And things in Douglas County will change.
Right.
But we have to work together as we and not I. Everybody coming together where there is injustice
Right.
to make sure justice is done and fight for justice and put in the right person regardless of the race.
You know, let me see. I just noticed a good friend of mine come in, Mr. David Good. Would you mind being on the panel?
Real quick, because I have a 7:30 meeting. I got.
You have a 7:30 meeting?
Yes.
Okay, what time is it?
At 7-Eleven.
7:11. Come on, because, you know, I want your views because, for those of you who don't know, David is the, tell them who you are, David, because my mind just, when you get old, your mind goes, that's what they say, it's one of the first things to go.
Well, I'm David Good, Chair of the Democratic Party here in Douglas County.
Okay, Chairman of the Democratic Party in Douglas County.
Yes, sir.
You were one of, myself, Jerome, were you one of the,
I wasn't
you
one
weren't
of
one of the complainants, okay, but you did speak out.
Right, we spoke out the very first day that it was brought up to City Council, to where myself, Rochelle Robinson, who was a candidate for mayor at one time and also was a former council member, and Jerome Fitz, we all spoke at the same meeting speaking about the social media policy and speaking about what he did and the things that he actually said.
Okay.
On, you know, basically on social media, all those posts that he did, and that was like the very first thing that happened. And then subsequently, everything else started just falling into place.
Have you heard any more about the social media policy that you put forward?
Well, actually, there was a meeting that took place between Doug LaGuire, who is the personnel and administrative chair, and then myself and also Rochelle Robinson and a couple other people. And it was brought up to find out what is the social media policy that we're going to put forth. Susan Littlefield also was there, who I believe she's the deputy attorney that's there.
Okay.
And that was like what was pushed forward and saying, well, let's see what else we can actually add to it to bring in more power. So
Okay.
one of the things was actually to have sensitivity training. That was part of it.
Also, I don't want to leave your now I'm gonna say your better half, because I know if you would you like to, I want to introduce the world to the Douglasville Democratic Party chairman, right?
Yes.
And his wife, who is what now?
She's the president of Democratic Women's Council of Douglas County.
Would you please?
Sure.
Yeah, just get you. Let me get you a seat. I want Douglasville really to meet, you know, people that are very active, which is something we all should be in Douglas County, because we're here to make a change. We're tired of the good old boy ways and tired of looking at what's been going on and being satisfied. That's why not only Douglasville, but the world needs to know that we're here to make a change. And I want to introduce to the world the chair. Say that again. That's too many levels for me and too many words.
I'm Myesha Good, and I'm the president of the Democratic Women's Council of Douglas County.
How long, you two been doing this together for a minute, I guess, right?
Well, actually, she was president of the Democratic Women's Council, while I was actually the third vice chair for the Democratic Party of Douglas County.
Okay.
And then I was elected chair at the beginning of 2013.
With women in Douglasville in general, are they? Do you think they're involved more, less involved?
Well, I think we are involved. We have mobilized, especially on the election efforts. So one of our missions is to ensure that the electoral process is honest and fair out here. And we make sure that women are elected to boards and into election of a legislature. So either on the state, on the local level, on the commission level, we make sure that women are elected on every level. So we are very involved out here. We also help the party tremendously on the state level and on the local level.
Okay.
So.
You know, I've seen Republicans marry Democrats, and I never have had a chance yet to kind of hit that, you know, where Republican is married to a Democrat and they just tussle in the meantime.
Right there.
Oh, we have?
And see, that was one of the good things actually about this whole situation is that myself and probably Jerome and also Rochelle, is that we saw this as an attack on the community. You know, it didn't matter, you know, who the party is. It's all about the community. And, you know, for someone that's, in me as a former Boy Scout, you know, I also attained Eagle Scout, how dare somebody come out there and call them perverts? For whatever reason, there's no reason to do that. You know, and then also disrespect the president. I mean, he's fair game because he's the president, but there's still, as an elected official, there's a certain level that you're supposed to actually hold yourself to. And we as citizens, whether we're in Lithia Springs, whether we're in Douglasville, or even in Douglas County, the city of Douglasville affects us. And those things that he said, you know, I wouldn't, as a businessman, I wouldn't want to put a business in Douglasville if I thought the citizens were fine with that and the elected officials were fine with that.
Exactly.
Right. Now, just a thought, now that we've gotten Mike in office, what are your views on moving forward? All of you, I want to ask all of you, Dean Khan, what are your views on moving forward, this day forward?
Well, actually, my first view, if I may speak first, is the fact that when his seat became open before the allegations were made out there, before all those things happened, I was hoping that someone with democratic values, democratic views would step forward to run against him, because he has a very high minority ran district. His district is actually close to 54%, maybe 52%, you know, African American are basically non-white. And so that was my first thing was say, let's get someone in there who could beat him that's only a Democrat, who's Democratic minded, even though it's a nonpartisan seat. And then when that didn't happen, Mike Miller stepped forward. So it's like, okay, number one, I know my main focus is getting Mike Miller out, especially after the allegations came out. So now moving forward,
To get McLean.
yeah, get McLean out.
Right.
And so now moving forward, he's actually in office, and we know that he has Republican views. But at the same time, I know that he cares about the community. So that's what we need to actually move with, is who can do best for the community. And then as Democrats, we welcome in, talking to him, and find out, it's like, okay, where can your views and our views line up? And where we're different, we're different. Where we're the same, let's move forward on those things that we're different in. Let's move on those things and see where can we get that agreeable line.
All right. Jerome, what about you?
Well, for me, it's a matter of, I think right now, there's things that are going to go through on the city council because you have open-mindedness up there right now. It isn't going to be, 5-3 all the time or something like that. The mayor can't just do what he wants to do. Now he has opposition. And it's going to be conversations now, and that's what we're trying to move towards moving forward, because why is it like that? Why is it that, and I spoke about this before, why is it that Douglasville went pro-Obama for basically twice, but local government, everything's Republican run? It's not fair. Throw out not fair, it's the fact that it shouldn't happen, but that goes to show people are uninformed about local politics. That's what we need to focus on. The fact that Mike won, that's cool. It doesn't stop. Now we got to worry about 2014.
Right.
There's more races coming up. We have to inform people of what's going on so they know. And we're not just going to push, vote for this. No, it's not about just vote for this person. Know who you're voting for. If you know who you're voting for, that's what carries more weight, because then they start telling people.
Right.
It's not just one person going to the polls. You inform one person, they know what's going on. It might be 4 or 5 people in their house. You might have 4 or 5 people going to vote at once. That's what we're striving for right now. But once again, it's about diversity. We have to make sure that people know what's going on. And to address the Dennis McLean issue, the thing about that is we have to make sure things like when it happens, we don't let it go. This is the first time probably in Douglasville history something like that happened and it wasn't brushed under the rug. We can't do that anymore. Right. Your voice has to be spoken up. You have to speak up. And the other thing with that is, that's the mistake of people with social media. You have to be mindful of what you say and what you do. I'm all for freedom of speech, but if you're a public servant, you're supposed to represent everybody in who you represent, and he didn't do that.
Myesha, do you have your thoughts on it as far as with the women, getting the women involved, more involved?
Our focus next year is to get Democrats elected. So whether it's a nonpartisan election or partisan election, our focus is to get not only women but men elected that are Democrats. Two, I think we need to remember that we still have to keep going after city councils because I think David wanted a social media platform done. Then you had a few people that wanted the ethics board to be set up and ran properly. So those two items we got to make sure we keep in their face and that those things are done for next year. So our focus is to make sure women are elected next year in 2014.
Right. Barbara?
We as a people have to remain very visible. We have to hold them accountable. Yes, Mike has been elected, but now we have to hold him accountable for the things he said he was going to do. And we need to make sure he represents the people as a whole. His agenda coincide with the people agenda and react from that.
All right, John?
Well, me personally, I don't know how everybody else feels. I think Mr. Mike Miller was the missing link. You know, because to me personally, I think Douglasville, the city council, it was a space right in there that just was just empty. And I just believe Mike Miller was the missing link. And now in January, when that link get attached to everybody else, I just think things are just going to happen for Democrats and Republicans, Tea Parties, wherever you are. I think Mike is just for the community, and I think it's going to work for Douglasville. I really do.